You're now tuned into the Shoot for Teams podcast with your favorite guys, Dorian and Kyle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Shoot for Teams podcast. It's your main man, D Hill, the gift card bandit.
And, of course, old man Ross, sweatsuits and fly kicks.
Man, we're back with another episode. This will be the culmination of our NBA playoff podcast, where we give you our predictions and our insight into the matchups. This is the final one, my brother. I mean, it's always a great time, and it's also a sad time for us because we know that basketball will be over within the next 2 weeks, which sucks. Yeah. But it also opens the door for another exciting time, which is the summer, which is free agency, the draft, summer league, all that stuff. So WNBA.
Oh, yeah. You've been watching, right?
I've been watching.
Yeah. I've been watching a little bit too.
Yeah. But this episode, we want to talk about the NBA Finals matchup that starts this week. If you've been under a rock and you don't know, it is the Golden State Warriors versus the Boston Celtics. So Kyle and I will go through and, let you know our predictions, give you key matchups and X factors and all that good stuff. Won't be a terribly long podcast, but we just wanted to give you our insight and, give you some background to this matchup.
Yes, sir. Before we get into the finals, we can just touch on the conference finals, which I thought were very interesting for both teams. My man Luka, he tried the best that he could do. The Doncic Express finally broke down. I know he put the NBA on notice. People were talking about how good he was and how talented he was, but I just think he ran out of juice. And the Warriors are just too much, man. Once they're hitting and they're scoring, they keep moving, they play great defense. It was too much for Dallas. I don't think, they had enough firepower with Tim Hardaway Jr. being out. And I felt like Brunson, he tried, but he didn't do as well as he did in the previous series. And Luka tried to put the team on his back again, but I think it was just too much. Steve Kerr and those guys did a great job coaching and creating matchup problems for the Mavericks. But I'm happy to say that I'm still a big fan of Luka. And off air, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was saying, what do they need? And I said, if they could get DeAndre Ayton, or if they could get Rudy Gobert, as much as I don't like him, that changes the dynamic for the Mavericks. And I feel like they'd be back in the mix again next year. So, those are my two cents on that. But Luka, I know he'll be ready to go next year.
Yeah. I think what you said, everything was cool. I just think that Luka, sometimes the other players, when Luka is getting into his groove, they stand around. Yeah, Luka is a great playmaker, but I think a lot of times Luka, he's very ball dominant. And I think, if they're moving the ball and they're playing faster, they're more effective. Not saying that they're a better team when Luka's out the game, but when Luka was on the bench sometimes and Brunson and Dinwiddie were in, they got to speed it up a little bit, move the ball around, and I think they were a little more effective. So I think that's some stuff that Jason Kidd and them will kind of work out over the summer. And I think they just didn't have another, like you said, Brunson did well in the previous series, but this series he kind of was, I don't want to say he was ineffective, but he wasn't as effective as he was in that previous series because, I don't know, the matchups were different. He kind of does the same thing every time. I mean, yeah. Luka does too, but Luka's a different animal. But you know what Brunson, he's trying to get to the middle. He's going to do that spin move and try to get body contact. And he does – exactly. He does the same thing. So, I think, Steve Kerr and his coaching staff were able to key in on that. And bottom line is they just got outplayed. Like, there's too much firepower on the Warriors. Dallas didn't have enough firepower. They couldn't make open shots. And that was ultimately like their demise. But Luka, like you said, he put everybody on notice. I think if he drops a little weight, gets in a little better shape, he's going to be more dangerous next season, which is scary to say.
I agree with that. And one other thing about Luka, and I think it's an international thing because we've noticed just watching a lot of basketball over the years, a lot of the international players complain every play.
Oh my God, yeah.
Every play, foul, no foul, travel, no, whatever it is. And Luka does a great job of complaining. And there were a lot of plays where he would complain and not get back down to set up the defense. And it's a 4-on-5 against the Warriors. And they're going to take advantage of that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that Luka would just have to be careful of. I know he's going to continue to complain, but you're not going to get every call, man. It's just, that's just how it is. You know, LeBron complains. The NBA complains as a whole, but I notice a lot of international guys, even Ginobili back in the day, my boy, the Joker complains, and they put their hands up in the face and they're looking around and they want those calls. So that's one thing for Luka to just try to work on. And I think, you know, the Mavericks got a lot of figuring out because I know Brunson's probably going to get a nice bag.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to figure out what they're going to do with our guy Spencer. Tim Hardaway will be back. Dorian Finley did well. I know Kleber didn't have the greatest series, but overall I think he did well. Powell. So they got a good squad, man.
They do.
I think they definitely surprised a lot of the casual fans and people because they expected it to be the Warriors and the Suns in the conference finals, and it wasn't. And you know, shout out to the Warriors, man, for real.
The Warriors are the Warriors.
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game when you play these guys. So
it's true. Talking about the East a little bit. The Eastern Conference Finals, how you feel about that one, how it wrapped up?
I thought that series was what it was going to be. Like it was going to be a back and forth series. I didn't see the blowouts of that series happening. Like it was very weird. And then for everybody to start doubting the Miami Heat, like, oh, they're done. And then they come out and win in Boston, and Jimmy has a hell of a game when he scores 47. And then they come home, and I don't want to say they laid a goose egg, but I think Boston just jumped on them way early and played with more intensity than Miami did. And by the time Miami tried to wake up, it was kind of too late. And then everybody wants to throw this, oh, Jimmy shot that 3 too early. He should have drove to the basket, which I understand his mentality. I mean, they've been losing the whole game. They was down, 2? He was trying to go for the hero shot. Like, if he would have made that, he was the king of Miami. Right. Everybody be talking about, you know, Jimmy's an elite player, blah, 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 which he is. I think he kind of solidified that in his playoffs. But, you know, the shot didn't go in, and they ultimately lost. But I don't think you can blame that one play on that whole thing. I think Boston's defense just throughout the whole playoffs has just been stellar. Like, they figured out how to stop KD, Kyrie. Then in the next round, they figured out how to slow Giannis down a little bit. Then, you know, you come in with this bulldog of Jimmy Butler and his guys. They were able to take Bam Adebayo out of his game, which was shocking to me, which we texted about. Old Al Horford was able to, you know, get Bam out of his game, which I didn't see happening. I thought Bam would kill him.
Right.
But it just, you know, it didn't happen. And then I think ultimately, too, just like the Mavs, I think the Heat just didn't have enough firepower at the end. Like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown got it cooking, and then they got help from everybody else. And then you got Marcus Smart being Marcus Smart, and that's a combination that's hard to beat. I mean, I know you've been a big Marcus Smart fan since he was at Oklahoma State, so it's good to see that he's starting to get all of the accolades and the notoriety that he deserves, because that brother competes.
Yeah, and you know, you hit it on the head, Pauls. Everything. I think Miami just didn't have enough. And like you said, they started out slow a lot of the games. And Jimmy does this. Jimmy locks in for the playoffs. regular season, he'll not to say he can coast, but
yeah,
he knows what the playoffs is about. And so he's going to give you 150%.
mm-hmm.
I was sad that Bam, I think, only had one good game. And I don't know where he was mentally. He let Al Horford, and then when Robert Williams came in there, Tice, it just he made it seemed like he was struggling offensively, and then that hurt him defensively. So he was kind of out of it. Tyler Hero not playing a few games hurt them. Duncan Robinson was in and out of the lineup. He didn't play much. Spruce, I know, did well. He didn't really do much game 7. And then Kyle Lowry was kind of in and out of the lineup. I know he had a big game 6, but I just feel like Miami, like you mentioned, they didn't have enough firepower, but injuries hurt them. And one thing that people got to realize about the Celtics, the basketball guys work in your favor sometime. If we look at the Brooklyn series, yeah, they played Kyrie and KD, but it was still a circus over there in Brooklyn. They didn't know what was going on.
True.
Kyrie finally came back. And this is not to take any credit away from the Celtics. I'm just saying how sometimes basketball works. Then they play Milwaukee in the second round. Chris Middleton is out. He doesn't play at all. Injury. He doesn't play one game, so they focus on Giannis. Grayson Allen does not play the way he played in the first series against the Bulls. Now we move on to them playing the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero is not played. He's out. Jimmy has to do everything he can. Jimmy gets hurt in one of the games. He doesn't play for the second half. People are unsure about him. Kyle Lowry's in and out of the lineup. Sometimes the basketball gods work in your favor, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. We're not saying that.
Right.
But the Celtics happen to turn it up the second half of the season at the right time. Coach has them locked in. They start to get players back that are healthy. They get Tice from a sign and trade. Grant Williams is back, leaned out a little bit. They finally get Robert Williams back in the lineup. I know he was in and out. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they start to lock in. Marcus Smart comes off injury. Sometimes it just works that way. And, you got to salute the Celtics on everything that they've done. I think this next path that they have in the finals might be a little difficult, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is a really good series, and it could go in the Celtics' favor. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think like everybody always says, it's really hard to get to the top tier levels in basketball, especially like to the conference finals, to the NBA championship, and all the things that you just said. Were factors that played into the Celtics getting there. Like, yeah, they're a great team, but there's no guarantee that they're going to get back there again. Right. Though, Jason Tatum and them have been in the conference finals like 3 times or something crazy like that. And they're finally able to get over the hump. But you could also look at Dallas. Next year, it's going to be harder for them to get back to the conference finals. You're going to have the Lakers being back, possibly. You're going to have the Clippers being healthy. Phoenix is probably going to be back in the mix again. The team that I'm nervous about in the West is the Nuggets. They're about to get all their players back. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, to go with Jokic, and all the young guys that were able to, gain confidence this season. The West is going to be harder this next season than it was this year. So,
and don't forget, and not to cut you off, Memphis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Memphis always,
and the Warriors.
True.
So those two.
I was just naming teams that weren't really in the mix.
I got you.
For this time that allowed Dallas to get to where they got to. I mean, yes, you have to put the ball in the basket. You have to win games, and they did that. But, like you said, the guys are in their favor this season, and for some odd reason, Phoenix couldn't handle Luka, and they didn't make it to the conference finals. Who's to say Dallas won't get there next year? They might, but it's really hard to get to these levels in basketball, especially with every team having some kind of superstar. Like they're going to be competitive. There's really no washes outside of like Orlando or all those teams.
It's true. And the basketball guys worked in the favor of the Warriors too. With John
for sure.
Hurt.
Yeah.
in the Memphis series, and Clay coming back in December, and him being able to rest for the first couple months and coming back, and he looks like he's starting to get his legs back. He's starting to be the old Clay. And Jordan Poole, nobody saw that coming out of left field. And you still have Kuminga, and they have Moody playing, and our boy Kevon Looney that looks like he's a 50-year-old man and he's still in his 20s. So, you know, that's just how like you said, basketball works in the NBA. And I know the Warriors are not taking this opportunity for granted.
Oh no, I think if anything, they're not going to take it for granted. I don't think the Celtics will take it for granted, but the Warriors already been here multiple times, so they know what it's going to take.
Right.
Whereas the Celtics are, you know, they're still young. They really don't know
what to expect.
They know how to win games, but this is a different level.
Yeah. Maybe Al Horford to tell him he's a champion in college, 2-time champion, and the coach, dealing with Pop and those guys. It's a couple. You got some championship caliber guys.
Yeah.
But you're right. As far as experience, I don't know if it's new for them.
Yeah. So, you know, jumping into the finals matchup, right away, like I came out and I was like, oh, it's gonna be Warriors in 5. But like now that I'm thinking about it, like it's gonna be tough, man. Like it's gonna be a tough one. Of course, selfishly, like me and Kyle say on every one of these playoff podcasts, we wanted to go 7 because it's more basketball.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like this series is going to be competitive. I hope there's no 30-point blowouts like we've seen in every other round.
I don't think so.
I just hope we get some good hard-nosed basketball and, you know, the best team comes out on top. I do think that there are matchups that will sway in each team's favor. So did you want to give like, you know, an X factor that you have for like each team?
So I'll start with the Celtics. I think the biggest X factor for them would be height and their big men. I know the Warriors like to go small, but I feel like Robert Williams, Tice, and I know they have and Al Horford. Al Horford's not the most athletic, but it's more athletic than a Looney. Looney's not really a big athletic guy, so we'll have to figure out what Steve Kerr is going to do. Are you going to put Kuminga at the 5 sometime? We know Draymond's going to run the 5, but if you could use Robert Williams, a lot of screen and roll, throw lobs to him, get rebounds, he's going to defend well. He's a shot blocker, and Tice do the same. That could be a big X factor, in my opinion, for the Celtics. What about you?
Yeah, for the Celtics, my X factor is going to be Marcus Smart. I think in their previous matchups against the Warriors, he's been able to frustrate Steph in a way that like nobody has ever. I don't want to say ever, but I don't think has been able to frustrate him. Maybe the last player might have been your boy Dellavedova on the Cavs.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was just feisty, just out there. Just
nobody knew who he was.
he was just like, you know, like a little rugby player on the basketball court, just being physical with Steph. I think that's going to be key to this series. I think if Marcus Smart is able to get into Steph, frustrate him, not allow him to get in those open spaces. I know that Steve Kerr is going to have him running off a million screens, but, you know, Marcus is very physical. I think just his presence on the court and maybe slowing down a Steph or a Clay or Jordan Poole and not allowing those guys to get those open looks is going to be like a big, big factor. He's not the biggest dude, but
that's true.
He has that Patrick Beverly like irritant factor to him.
He's always been like that.
Always.
But and so the X factor for me will be actually Andrew Wiggins, and I mentioned that the last series.
Yep.
Only because if Andrew can play, give you 18, 19 points, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is actually a lot. Efficient. He's very efficient. He's been efficient, making his free throws, getting to the basket, I think that builds confidence. And Andrew's somebody that if he's scoring offensively, he's going to play defense as well. And so they'll throw him on Tatum or Brown, or they'll have him switch and do all that. But I think if he can play 15, 18 points a game, give me 5 rebounds, a couple steals and blocks in there, I think the Warriors got a good shot, man. I really do. Yeah,
I was going to say too, like, my X factor as far as the Warriors go is, the wing guys. I was going to say Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins. Like, if Andrew can play the way he played in the first half of the year that got him that all-star selection, I think it'll benefit them because they're going to need it. And most importantly, they're going to need him on defense. They're going to need him to, at least slow down Jason Tatum. I don't think you're going to be able to stop Jason Tatum at this point, but you're going to have to make things a little more difficult for him. And Andrew, he did well against Luka. Luka did his thing, but I think he at least made it a little more difficult at times for Luka. And I think he'll do the same this next series, even though Jason Tatum's a different player and Jaylen Brown's a different player. Yeah. And I think Kuminga, if Steve Kerr allows him to play more, which he should, because that'll bring another athletic body off the bench. And it's kind of similar to Andrew Wiggins. And they were kind of praising him as far as like playing defense coming in. So like if he was able to come in and at least, get a couple buckets, like, I don't know, I want to say 10, 12, and play solid D, like he'll be able to stay on the floor, not make dumb mistakes. He is 19, but like if they can get any kind of contribution from Kuminga off the bench and have your boy, I just blanked on his name.
Wiggins?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Andrew Wiggins play the way he was playing earlier in the year. And even earlier in the playoffs on a consistent basis, I think the Warriors have a good shot at it.
Yeah, and I agree. And obviously we're no experts, we're just we're elite, amazing fans and basketball aficionados. But if I was Steve Kerr and you mentioned Jason Tatum, I would force him to be a facilitator and a playmaker, which he's really not. He can pass the ball. I'm not saying he won't, but I would force him to have to give the ball up and make it where other guys got to create. Jaylen Brown's going to get his. Marcus Smart likes to shoot the long three. He likes to facilitate and be the point guard. But if you make Wiggins guard Jason Tatum full court, like he was kind of doing with Luka, exactly, and like you said, irritating him, I think you can't really take Jason Tatum out of the game because he'll find a way. But I think if you put a body on him from the start, not Draymond, because you want Draymond to kind of be the quarterback of the just filling out everything. Because I would throw Draymond on Jaylen Brown. I would throw him on Marcus Smart a few times because you want them to clash. Because if you get them out of the game, both of them, then it's like, damn, now what we got? So who do you think who gets the advantage if that ever happens in one of the games? Which team gets the Marcus Smart or Draymond? Ooh, I think the Celtics. Or you think it's even? Nah, I think because they rely on Draymond so much. Yeah, people don't realize that, man. Draymond is such a key piece for the Warriors to be the guy to facilitate, but to be that dog, do the little things that you might not see. Marcus didn't play a few games, and the Celtics, if I'm not mistaken, still won. Yeah. Because Derek White came in. That's when Grant Williams will come in and kind of try to pick up little things. I don't know if the Warriors, unfortunately, you know who that other dog was, and we got to see, was Gary Payton Jr. That's another guy. If he can play, that's another young guy you could throw. Just say, stay on him, full court. Yeah. Stay on Jaylen Brown. Cool. Stay on even though Jason Tatum has the advantage height-wise. Yeah, height-wise. But run them. Keep bumping them, make them irritated. So, but to answer your question, man, I think that it would benefit the C's if Draymond didn't play more or less than if Marcus didn't play,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because what Draymond does, like you said, for the Warriors, he does all the little things, even stuff we don't see, like complaining to the refs, saying little stuff that influences future calls, if you want to believe it or not. But that definitely influencing things, and like just his IQ on the court. Whether, he sees somebody doing something, he'll go talk to them and let them know, look, maybe you should do this, but not having them on that floor will be a detriment to them if that ever happens. Not saying that, the Celtics will just be fine, but they have shown the ability to win without Marcus Smart in big games. So, like you said, I agree with you. With the Warriors would be in trouble if that were to ever happen. They'd be in trouble,
man. And we don't want even if it's a double tech, we'll take that.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want no injuries.
No.
We don't nobody get thrown out the game, no flagrant twos. But it's gonna be chippy, man. It's definitely gonna be chippy, especially going back to Boston. The fans are gonna be locked in, and Draymond is gonna say something to somebody, and Steph is going to be out there doing this thing. I think Clay is also somebody that we saw highlights of him when he hit those 7 threes or 8 threes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
If Clay can do that, at least 5, 6 threes and start early, Celtics going to be in trouble. Because the one thing is, the Celtics play great defense, but if you up 20 on them and the way the Warriors shoot, you can't outshoot the Warriors.
No.
You can't play catch up. You know what I mean? Miami, like you mentioned, they blew a couple leads because Jimmy was doing everything.
Exactly.
So.
But just going back to like another key, like to this series, like you said, I think we'll have to look at the physicality aspect of this series. If you let the Warriors play the finesse basketball and just, run around and not get touched and, run off screens and shoot open threes, is going to be sweet. Yeah. But we all know that the Celtics play a scrappy, physical brand of basketball. And I think like if they all play defense like Marcus Smart does and be a little physical with everybody on the court, it'll throw them off, I think, a little bit. I think everybody will kind of be affected by it except for Draymond, because he thrives in that, and he'll get the crowd all going crazy. And but I think if you're able to be physical with Jordan Poole, physical with Clay, physical with Steph, physical with Andrew Wiggins, it's gonna get them off their game. And I think, I don't know if I haven't watched much of the analysts as far as like the ESPN and stuff go, but I think that's a big key, as well as what you said as far as the height differential at the center spot, because the Warriors are pretty thin at that big man spot. I mean, I think if they had Wiseman playing, it would be a different, but you just got Kevon Looney and what's my boy, the big man that can shoot. He don't really play that much no more. Dang, he from overseas too.
But why was I gonna say Balenciaga? You
talking about not Balenciaga?
That's his name. Like, I know who you're talking about.
I'm sorry, man. I'm messing it up. But even if they could get him to come in, and like when Tice is in, like that'll be, that'll kind of even it out. But as far as like Robert Woods and going against Kevon Looney, Al Horford too. Al Horford, I mean, he plays stellar defense. He's shown that ever since Giannis dunked on him and looked at him, he's been a different person. But we'll see. But I think those are the two keys, like the center spot and playing the Warriors physically. They have to. If the Celtics are going to win this series, I think that's what the game plan needs to be. You cannot allow the Warriors to get free open looks. You cannot.
And I don't think they will. You mentioned being aggressive and physical. I know Grant Williams, big stocky dude, will do that. It's just IQ, because Grant Williams, him and Robert Williams are getting in foul trouble early. So the Warriors, one thing that they have over a lot of teams, IQ, crafty, finesse. Even though Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum are crafty and have IQ, that's what Draymond set a screen, fall on try to get an offensive foul, and Marcus does it too. And it works in his favor. But what you mentioned, Steve Kerr, they're gonna figure it out. Champions do. The Celtics have a champion style of basketball. I think they'll figure it out as well. But if you're letting the Warriors just shoot threes and do what they want early, and the swag is high and they play into the crowd, you might as well chalk that up.
Quick series it'll be.
But in all actuality, sorry about that. I got a gardener out here. He wants to start. He wants to start moving leaves. Oh, okay. I got the Warriors in 7. Simple as can be. I think selfishly, I'm going 7. It could go 6, but I think the Warriors, the experience might take them over the top, and Draymond is gonna have those dudes locked in. Draymond, but Coach Kerr, all those dudes will be locked in. Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton Jr., some of those guys, this is their first time being in the finals. Yeah. Those old vets and champions will have them ready to go. They just got to step up. They just got to step up when the lights are on. And I think that the Warriors will have it in 7.
Yeah, because they do have a good mix of young players with the veterans that have been there. What is it? This is their 4th time in the finals?
No.
I'm saying like within the last couple of years, though. Oh, because they missed the last 2 years.
They missed the last 2 years, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, they went 5 years straight against LeBron, and then all that foolishness happening.
That's right.
KD got hurt against Toronto. Toronto won the chip. Then the next year, the Lakers won. Then Milwaukee won, and now they're back. So
that's right. That's right.
Now they definitely familiar with the. We're going to the finals, man.
In real life, I want the Warriors to win because, being an LA kid, though I'm not a Laker fan, I can't root for the Celtics, even though me and you have talked at length on text message about how we love Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We always have been fans of them. But I just can't root for the Celtics, man. So, with all that being said, I'm gonna give the Celtics the edge for the podcast purposes. I'm gonna give them the edge if they're like I said earlier, if they're able to be physical, play their style of defense, and frustrate the Warriors and not allow them to get open shots. And Jason Tatum continues to play the way he's playing and get some contribution as well from Jaylen Brown, because he's also playing at a high level. And if they can, get another guy to chip in as well, because you're going to need more than just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the occasional 3 from Marcus Smart. You're going to have a third guy step up. If they're able to do that, I think the Celtics could win the chip, even though that pains me to say. I'm going to say the Celtics in 7 as well, because I want to see as much basketball as I can before this NBA season is over. I think it's been an amazing playoffs this year. All the matchups have been very intriguing, and they all kind of lived up to the hype of everything. So
Yep. And one thing before we close this out is I think Derek White, man, he could be somebody for them.
We didn't really talk about him.
He definitely could be somebody to help the C's in a big way, coming off the bench, shooting a 3. He seems to be very smart He plays within the system. He's not a guy that's just going to force a lot of bad shots.
Right.
If he can give you 15, man, that 15, 18 goes a long way. You got Grant Williams. Grant Williams hit all those threes against Milwaukee and they ended up winning that game. All you need is one or two guys to step up per game to help your superstars, those role guys. You don't have to do it the whole series, but one game will get you a win.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, man. You look up and you're like, damn, they won the series due to this, due to that, you know?
Yeah, and I think Peyton Pritchard will have a bigger role in this finals.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Miami kind of took him out of that series, but I think, you know, with the Warriors always playing small, I think my boy Udoka will have Peyton Pritchard back in the lineup, and he's capable of putting buckets in. So
you got
to look out for Peyton as well. But I definitely agree with you with Derek White. He was able to, I don't want to say slow down Jimmy, but, you know, he's another long body that can at least put a hand up. I know Jimmy was going at him every time Derek White was on him and scoring easily. But, you know, if you got long wings, you gotta put them out there, especially against the Warriors that like to go small. But I just think the key is it's the physicality. Like, we all know the Warriors like to play with finesse, and if you somehow could be physical with them, I would say the coaching staff of the Celtics need to go back and look at them Detroit Pistons finals matchups. You know, the Chauncey days, even back to the Bad Boys days when they played the Lakers and they had that high-flying offense and they were physical with them. And you see, but I think, you know, ultimately defense will probably win championships. I don't mean to sound cliche, but
you're right though. You're right. And if I was the Warriors, and I know Steve and those guys, Mike Brown and all, I would go back to the finals that we lost. We was up 3-1, and you had Dellavedova, and you had Dante Jones on that squad. I think those are physical dudes.
Yeah.
Like you said, make Richard Jefferson, I think, was on that team, and I would go back to that. Figure out what, even though you lost it, and you probably don't want to look at it, figure out why we lost the way that we lost. So then going into this, you know they're going to be physical. They obviously can't play like they would back in the day as the Bad Boys, because
of course
that's a flagrant 2.
Flagrant 1, flagrant 2.
You might be out the series, but I see what you're saying. A little bump here, make it, because once Steph starts complaining to the refs and starts, you know, doing other things, he started taking a lot of bad shots, and him and Clay
start chucking them.
Him and Clay could, as much as they could shoot you in the game, they could shoot you out, and then
live by the 3, die by the 3.
And then it's over with. So they're definitely key points on both ends. And we hope, like you mentioned, it goes 7. More ice for the same price, man. That's what they say.
Not in today's inflation days.
Oh, you're right.
It's more price for no ice.
Yeah, because gas, dude, the holiday, I think they just shot the gas up. They knowing so many people was getting on the road this past weekend that I saw gas. It was almost $7.
Oh, I was in the Valley yesterday, 76 station. It was $7.54.
Was it?
Let me look. Hold on. I took a screenshot.
That's crazy. That's
I might have erased it.
That's why so many Teslas on the road right now.
Man.
Electric cars, man.
Yeah. So this was on Coldwater Canyon. Full service, $7.54, $7.64, and $7.74.
Ladies and gentlemen, you saw the screenshot. He is not fabricating that story at all.
I'm gonna be in the house.
It sounds crazy and ignorant. I still have a Yukon to this day. I just be driving every other Tuesday. Yeah, man, let me do everything I need to do in one day.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, man. Wow. That's your new name, the Gas Bandit. Before we get out of here, man, we want to thank everybody that showed up to our first ever live podcast. The Artist Talk. We want to thank the artists. It was a good turnout, man. We're a little nervous, but I think overall it went well. So we thank everybody for that.
Yeah, we definitely thank everybody for coming out. It was something different for me and Kyle to do. It's something that we had talked about doing, when we first started the brand, having like live events and talks and stuff. And that was kind of like a look into what it could be and, the vibe that it had. And I think it was a great talk. The artists were amazing. They had great insight and gave good insight to, their process. And of course, we talked basketball as well. And that was also good. But yeah, just look, we might be doing some more of that kind of stuff in the future. So look out for that. And just thank you guys for all the support all the time. It's greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And we will probably have some new stuff coming for the summertime.
Absolutely.
So look out for that. And we just thank you guys for the support always, man.
Always. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit real quick, man. We always do this top 5, your top 5. Give me your top 5 Warriors all time.
My top 5 Warriors. Damn, bro.
Okay, Celtics. Your top 5 Celtics.
I can't give you that.
Yeah, just real quick.
Top 5 Warriors. Okay.
Your top 5.
Okay. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
This is tough.
Damn. You could be all guards. I ain't tripping. They don't have to be position-wise. It don't have to be true position.
Because I was going to say something like Steph, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond.
Okay. All right.
Chris damn, Zeke, I'm leaving out Baron Davis.
I thought about Baron. I was going to text him after you didn't put him on the list.
I got to put Chris Webber in there, too, because Chris Webber was killing. But since he didn't stay there, I'm going to just say, okay, I'm going to go Steph, Clay, Chris Mullin, Jason Richardson, and Baron Davis.
All right, mine's going to be a little different.
That was tough, bro, because I still got pet players I wanted to put on there, but you said 5, so.
It's all right. I got Steph. I got Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah,
I got Baron Davis, and I'm switching it up. I got Draymond and I got Matt Barnes. Those are my favorite guys.
Man.
But it's so many. You got Steven Jackson, you got Jason Richardson.
Right.
I was
trying to think of people that had an impact while they was there, but I mean they all did because you got the whole Run TMC era.
Yeah, of course, Tim Hardaway and all those guys. Salute
the Celtics. I don't even know they have so many players.
It was just for fun.
Yeah,
Celtics is easy. KG for me, Larry Bird. What's my boy's name? Casey Jones.
Havlicek.
He's never gonna be on my list. Dennis Johnson and Bill Russell. That's an easy.
That's solid. That's solid.
Yeah, it's easy because I'm like you. But then the ignorant part of me, I would do Antoine Walker. That was our guy. Ricky Davis.
They even have Paul in there.
It's Paul not on a lot of people's lists after that whole strip club fiasco. Shout out to Paul Inglewood's finest. Paul will always be on my list. But that's just for fun, man. Like Dorian said, thank you again for everything. Please comment, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube. We're on all the Spotify. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple TV, Apple Podcasts. We're on Google. All the
YouTube.
YouTube. You can follow everything at hardwoodbrand.com. And I'm signing off, man. Old Man Ross, sweatsuits and fly kicks. Spread love and not hate.
It's your man D Hill, the gift card bandit. Get in the gym, shoot some jumpers, at least about 8. We out of here.
Warriors in 7, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. We'll see.
Let's go. Peace.
All right, y'all. Peace.